What if the real measure of leadership is not how you get it done, but what if it's actually how much you build others up? Come on now. In a world that is obsessed with output, it's easy to forget that true leadership is about impact, not just activity. And in today's episode, we're unpacking what it means to lead in a way that truly leaves a mark, not just metrics, but on people's lives. So if you're ready to move from managing tasks to multiplying transformation, this episode is for you. Let's get started. Welcome to Transformation Station Best in Class series, where leadership meets legacy and excellence is more than a goal, it's a mindset. I'm Adrienne Benton, your host, and in each episode, we sit down with high impact leaders, change agents, and culture shifters to explore what it really takes to lead with purpose, resilience, and transformational influence. I want you to hear me clearly. This is not about trends. No, no, no. It's about timeless truth that elevates how we live, lead, and leave our mark. And in this best in class episode, Lead with Impact with Michael Dillard, we talk about the real stuff, the kinds of leadership growth that doesn't just look good on the inside, but it truly transforms how you lead from the inside out. Before we get started, I want to say thank you so very much to each and every listener and viewer. Because you are journeying with Transformation Station, we hit 750 downloads. I want to say thank you. And also, I want to invite you to keep on listening, keep on watching, and keep on sharing, because the community that grows together builds together. All right, so let's get into the episode today. Today, the focus is leading with impact with our special guest, Michael Dillard. Michael Dillard is a global leadership expert, executive coach, and speaker. Michael Dillard is a seasoned global speaker with a mission to empower leaders to unlock their potential, build high performing teams, and drive meaningful change. In addition to his extensive global experience, Michael proudly served 4 years in the Army, where he cultivated discipline, resilience, and a commitment to service, qualities that continue to shape his leadership philosophy today. Michael holds an MBA in personal finance and a master's degree in accounting. With over 2 decades of experience, he has worked across 6 continents, impacting organizations and individuals in the Dominican Republic, Zambia, Afghanistan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Africa, and the United States. And here's why he's here today. Because Michael believes that your mindset is the foundation of your success. It's not your circumstances or resources that determine your future. No, he believes it's how you think, act, and adapt. He's a leader's leader and a powerful voice. And today, he is going to coach our community to shift our mindset without apology. Listen, Transformation Station community, I invite you now to welcome Michael Dillard to the Best in Class Leadership Podcast series. Michael, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
I am so happy that you have me on the podcast today, Transformation Station Leadership Podcast, the best in class. I am so honored to be able to share with your guests from around the world. Everybody's watching, they're learning what you're doing. The masterclass in leadership is needed. It's often talked about, especially in break rooms, right? You see burnt out leaders. They're frustrated. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to talk to, but you are providing them with the platform to help them reset their mindset. And I appreciate you for that.
Oh, so thrilled to have you here. And I am ready to dive into our best in class series today. So, we're talking about leading with impact. Simon Sinek says leadership is not about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in your charge. Now, Michael, I have, like you, decades of leadership experience, right? And I have found that leaders, we oftentimes we want to be impactful, but oftentimes we struggle with how to actually make an impactful difference. And over the years, I've learned that there's some reasons why we struggle. I'm not going to raise my hand, even though I'm really raising my hand when I say this, but here's a few reasons in general why leaders struggle with being impactful. Number one, sometimes we as high impact leaders, we get stuck in the doing, not in the leading. Many times I've
Hmm.
experienced it myself. You get overwhelmed with the tasks, with the meetings, with the outputs. And sometimes because we're overwhelmed with that, we feel like we don't have the energy or the space to invest in those who we're leading. And so we end up doing productivity over people. Hmm. To those who are listening right now, you're a high impact leader. I want to invite you to not lose sight of the human impact that you can have as a leader. Michael, what do you think about this right here? Getting stuck in the doing and not in the leading.
You know, that comment and message hit near and dear. I love that the Simon quote because I faced that obstacle early in my career and I had no
Mm,
one to turn to. You see, I was overseas leading a country, managing millions of dollars. I was crossing all the I's, dotting all the T's. The work went up. All these
mm,
different issues that was taking place, I was able to correct these issues. The location I was at, they were getting praises for improved customer service.
yes.
I was doing a lot of doing.
Mm,
However, my staff, they weren't feeling my leadership style. I'm gonna be honest. They were
mercy.
not because I was a doer. I
Mhm,
could get it done, but I was getting it done at the cost of
mm,
my team, not
mm,
being a leader who leads with empathy, not being a leader who listens to their team members so that
mercy.
we win together. I was focused on how the organization looked at my financial office as a whole without how is it really impacting the people.
Have mercy. So, that leads me into another struggle, another reason why we struggle, confusing authority with influence. Sometimes we
Yes.
rely on our position, we rely on our title rather than relying on trust and building relationship. They say people don't care how much you know until they know how much you. I know those of you are listening, you
Yep.
ended
Yep.
with the right word, until they know how much you care. And it
Care.
is true, Michael, that impactful leadership is built on connection, not on control. There you go. Those of you who are listening and watching, I invite you, write that quote in the chat or write this down in your note-taking device. Impactful leadership is built on connection, not built on control. And pause right here and ask yourself, your leadership, how are you building your leadership? What is the foundation? Is the foundation control or is the foundation connection? Michael, I'm going to share one more, and then we're going to
Okay.
move forward. One more. Sometimes, as impactful leaders, we can get caught into chasing short term wins over long term growth. In many fast paced environments, it's tempting to focus on the quick result. Sometimes we work in these pressure filled environments where output, 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 and we end up making that output the priority as opposed to the long term growth, the legacy, the process improvement. Real impact is often slow, steady, and strategic. So at the core, leaders struggle to be impactful when they lose sight of people behind the performance. Now, Michael, let's start at the foundation. You have a framework for leaders that will empower them to be impactful. Talk to us about LEAD, L-E-A-D, LEAD. What does LEAD stand for in your framework, and how did it come to life?
A great question. Uh, I was a burnt out leader and I didn't know it. Oftentimes, leaders are suffering with burnout. And the reason why is that there's not a system that leaders can use that's easy to implement so that they can avoid burnout, at the same time, keep their employees motivated and still deliver. It was when I had a coach, I started to realize some weaknesses in my leadership style. And then I was able to correct them. And then I started coaching several US diplomats, several executives from around the world. And I learned a pattern. I started to realize a pattern that the consistent theme was that most leaders don't listen to their employees. They don't empower their employees. They don't know how to adapt to change, and they don't develop the organization's most precious resources, which are the employees. So after I started coaching high performing leaders on how to lead with impact, how to listen with emotional intent, how to empower the right employee. See, that's a lesson in itself. See, sometimes people are complaining about underperforming employees. The reason is that it's your fault as a leader. What you've done is you've seen someone that's highly, highly motivated who just started, who's a 10 in motivation, but they don't understand the organization's culture. They don't know the policies nor the systems. So they are a 3 in knowledge. And if you was to put these people on a chart in motivation and then skill, that employee is going to fall down in a lower quadrant. They're not ready. They are not ready to take on job responsibilities on their own because they don't understand who to talk to, the right culture, the right protocols in place. That's why they need you to help them. But you're complaining, saying that they're performing bad and poorly, but you never even showed them the policy on how to do that job the right way. You never showed them the format on how the report should be done, but you're too busy complaining because you put them to work from day one. So that's why a lot of leaders fail with empowering. Adapt. Right now, we have a lot of tools and technology, new ways of thinking. Oftentimes, I have to sit leaders down and say, okay, what are other ways we can get the job done using the team that you have? I know you want this person, that person used to be the best, but they're no longer with you. Okay, who else can help? What additional resources can we pull in to help you get that task done? And does it really have to be you who's going to that meeting? Can someone else go to the meeting? I know traditionally it's the director, but you don't have enough time. You're burnt out. Why not adapt and change the way you're doing things? And then develop. Oftentimes, you're a high performer, you're leading with impact, but then you have nobody that can also step in when you go on vacation. And the reason why is that a lot of times high performing people aren't developing people under them to be able to replace them. Because at some point in time, you are going to rise if you're leading with impact. So the organization needs someone to fill your spot. So if they can't fill your spot, you know what they do sometimes? They keep you where you're at, and then they hire somebody above for that position because they can't afford to let your department go down. So that's how I came up with the Lead with Impact framework.
Can you tell us again the letters? L stands for?
Listen to your employees with empathy. Imagine we had a holiday in America, the 4th of July. One supervisor was talking to their employees, and the employee said, "Oh, I'm going to Florida for 4th of July to spend time with my family." The other supervisor heard their employees saying that they're going to Georgia for 4th of July. Well, come Monday morning, the one supervisor said, "Hey, I need this report done ASAP. We're behind because of the holiday. Can you get it done for me?" But the other supervisor said, "Oh, how was your trip to Florida? Did you have fun? Did you shoot fireworks? They have a conversation." Now that supervisor comes back and says, "Looks like we have a report that's needed urgently and they're asking for it. Is there an opportunity for you to go ahead and work on this so we can get it done?" Which employee is going to be more receptive to which supervisor? The one that listened with empathy, right? So that they saw them as a real human being, not as a numbers cruncher, not as a report writer.
Yes, yes. So L
You have
is
to
listen,
listen.
E
E is
is
empower. You got to learn how
is
to empower your employees to take
mhm,
on additional roles and responsibilities so that you're not showing up at all the meetings, so that you're
mhm,
not checking all the work, so that everything has to go through you. So it's empower your employees. A, adapt to changing environments, adapt to new tools and technology. And then
mhm,
the D stands for develop other employees.
mhm.
Develop other employees.
I love this. I love this. And those of you who are listening right now, I want to invite you again to take out your note taking device. Michael has been dropping some serious gems about how we can lead others with impact. And you see the framework here, LEAD. Very easy to remember. Listen, empower, adapt, develop. This is simple and it is practical. And so I want to invite you, even right now, to not just hear, but to allow it to take root and stop and reflect on how can you take this framework and use it to be a benefit for you and for your team. So Michael, we talk about going from managing to leading. Leadership is a
Yes,
process, right? You get
it
started,
is.
you're excited, you have experience, you have knowledge, you're ready to go and to lead. And initially we start with managing. We have to know how to manage our time, right? We have to know how to
Right.
manage our resources, and we move to managing people, supervising people. But that's like where you begin. That's not where you stay as a leader. You really move from managing, which is organizing, to leading. Yet many leaders struggle with that transition,
They
going
do.
from managing to leading. So I want to ask you, how does the lead with impact model help bridge that gap of moving from managing to leading? And I really want to hear this. How did you become an accidental US diplomat? Trying to kind of tie it
Okay. All
together and
right.
tell
You're
us
going
a
to
little
tie it
bit.
in. All
Yes.
right. So here's what I often find with organizations. They're going to always hire the best salespersons who's hitting their number, right? So the person's hitting their number. The person has a lot of technical skills. So they're hiring this person to say, hey, wait a minute, why don't you become the director of the division?
Hmm.
But oftentimes, what we know is easy to manage yourself, but it's harder to manage other people who have different agendas, different personalities, different motivational triggers. That's one thing leaders mess up. They don't realize that each individual employee on your team, they have different motivational triggers. Some people, they're motivated just to be recognized publicly. Others just want to, hey, good job. Others want time in front of people as public recognition. You have to learn what does your employee value. So oftentimes the issue is that managers struggle to become a leader because they don't have a system. That's what it comes down to. They don't have a system that they can easily implement. They read the theory, crucial conversation. You have this protocol. Okay, focus on the facts. Okay, X person was late for work. I had a conversation with them. Then they said, you are so and so's favorite. You don't say something to X, Y, and Z. They teach you, okay, let's just focus on the problem at hand. Let's keep it factual and explain how you felt when the fact that the person was coming to work late and how it impacted the organization's output. Keep it simple. However, a lot of times managers who become leaders get overwhelmed. Like, okay, what do I do next? What do I do next? So that's why, as a leader, if you just use the lead with impact framework, you're going to be able to lead efficiently because you have somebody coming in who has an issue. You have to listen, right? Listen with empathy. Now you have to make a decision. Are they giving you work or are you giving them work? How much empowerment are you giving them to take on that particular problem? Then later on in your career, you're going to adapt the way you do business, the way you think. Because when you're the one responsible for the work and you're doing the work yourself, it's different. But now you're delegating to other people. So now you have to stop saying, oh, I'll do it. Let me take a look at it. Let me take a look at it. You don't have enough time in the day to look at every single thing. So now you have to adapt how you manage. What we do know also is time. You have to learn to adapt how to block out your calendar, right?
Mhm.
Oftentimes somebody will come and knock on your door. I have a problem. Can you talk to me about this? If you let everybody come into your office, unexpected, unplanned, you're going to have all these issues that just piling up that you have to think about. Meanwhile, you're going to go home, you're going to eat dinner, and then you're going to start sending out emails and reviewing reports, and your family's going to be looking at you like, I thought you went to work. Why are you working from home? You see, you have to adapt to realize that no, what is considered a priority and what's considered urgent. That's another thing. Priority and what's urgent. So somebody comes up to you, hey, Michael, I have a problem with, oh, great. Here, can you do me a favor? Can you go on my calendar and set something up for tomorrow? And then any additional information that I need before the meeting, can you go ahead and send it to me in advance? Because I really want to make sure that we can resolve the issue. Now, what you've done is you've given yourself time to really look at all the information that's required to make a decision. In addition, you already have a time block set. In the morning time, you come in, you knock out email responses. You got a 10 o'clock meeting. Then you got to take a 15-minute break to mentally reset. You got to take a 15-minute break to mentally reset. Now, if you have people who schedule meetings on your calendar, you meet with them. And then say from 1 to 2 is open hours. So if there's something urgent and important, hey, why don't you come back at 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock, I'll be happy to take care of this. And then from 2 to 4, you're doing your team routine and etc. But you see, you have realized that your time is your most precious asset. You've adopted. Now, I know everybody wants to know, Michael, how did you accidentally become a U.S. diplomat? How did you go from being unemployed on a Friday to a U.S. diplomat managing $200 million, $500 million international development programs, leading across multicultural teams? Here is what happened, folks. You see, you got to be resilient. If you believe it, you can achieve it. Imagine this. You're working, going to work, wearing flip-flops, shorts, and a t-shirt. You're making $70,000. Life is good. You're married. So good. You're starting to expand your family. Your wife is pregnant. And then all of a sudden, you get the tap on the shoulder. And they said, Michael, we're going to have to let you go. Lisa, we're going to have to let you go. What are you thinking? You're thinking about the newborn baby who's about to come. You're thinking about the bills. You're thinking about all these issues and problems. But here's something that I did that most people aren't willing to do. You see, 8 months ago, the professional development bug hit me. It said, Michael, it's time for you to go back and get your master's in accounting. I already had an MBA in personal finance because I like to talk about money and compounding interest, but I'll say that for another day. So I went back and got my master's in accounting because the personal development book said computers are costing $2,000, but the price is coming down. What happens when the computer starts to be worth only $400 or $500? Are you still going to have a job? Because you remember, what happened to beta and VHS tapes? Extinct. 8-track tape players gone. Technology changed and replaced it. So I said, you know what? You got a good point. Personal development bug. So I went, got my master's in accounting. So when I got laid off, all of a sudden, I ended up getting a job, becoming a United States diplomat, traveling the world. You see, I had applied for job after job after job. When you're unemployed, you will start applying for any and every job. But what saved me was my financial literacy. Because see, I had money in my 401k. I had life insurance that I own personally outside my job. And so I was financially savvy, which a lot of people aren't. And that's another topic for another day for busy executives who are burnt out, who are broke, but still living paycheck to paycheck. So that is what happened. That's how I went from being unemployed on a Friday to a U.S. diplomat on a Monday, traveling the world.
That is that's an amazing story. And I love the fact that this is not a fable, but this is real life. And, you know, Michael shared with us the fact that he had grit, he had courage, he had determination. And you may not have had all the answers as you were taking your feet and moving forward, but you trusted the process. You trusted that you were going to be able to, as you move forward, you were going to be able to find that sure footing. And to those leaders right now who find yourself in the crossroads, don't quit. Don't give up. First of all, don't give up on you. don't give up on you. Don't give up on you. Don't give up on the experiences that you have experienced throughout your life. Michael, I have found throughout my life that even the most dire experiences, the mistakes that I've made where I thought, oh my gosh, I will never recover, I have found that many of those experiences was what I needed for where I was going. Because from a Christian perspective, sometimes we say for every level there's a new devil, right? But really, what we're saying is, as you continue to move forward, learn, gain knowledge, advance, the requirement of leadership, the requirement of responsibility increases. But if you've never gone through anything, if you don't know what it's like to make a mistake and have to recover, if you don't know what it's like to have to pick up a broom and sweep the floor, if you've never done the basics, but you're always staying on the mountaintop, then as you move forward, you will not really have what is needed to be able to carry yourself forward on the new platform, and or even more tied into what we're saying, have the experience, the depth inside of you to carry a team forward. So thank you
Well
for
said.
sharing
Well
with
said.
us your experience of becoming this U.S. ambassador. So listen, which element of lead, L-E-A-D, right? Which element of lead do you find that leaders struggle with the most? And how can how can we as leaders begin to grow in the area that we struggle with the most?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Ooh, that's tough. If I had to choose one, I'm gonna go with empowerment. I'm gonna go with
Okay.
empowerment. Listen is up there. I'm gonna go with empowerment. I feel like empowerment shows itself more to the leader. Here's why. A lot of times a leader will look down their office. Say you're managing a staff of 20. You'll look around and you're like, I'm burnt out. I got so much work to do. But the team, they're not performing.
Hmm.
Oftentimes it's not the team's fault, it's your fault because you haven't done a proper analysis of who you have in your office. And once
Hmm.
again, as a leader, here's your homework, and you got to report back. Got to report back and tell the podcast viewers
Yes.
how it impacted your work. Do this: get a piece of paper, and on
Mhm.
one side, I want you to write motivated employee, motivated on one axis.
Mhm.
Then the lower axis, I want you to write culture, skill, job knowledge. Okay.
Mhm.
So we're going
Mhm.
to start in the corner is 0. Going up is 10 in motivation, 0 in culture, knowledge of organizational processes. And you're going to go out here and it's 10. So now you're
Mhm.
going to put where it's 5 and 5, right? You're going to put a line, draw a line, right? 5 and 5. Now I want you to start to rate each and every employee in your office. Here's what you're going to learn. If an employee is at the lower quadrant and motivation, there are 4, and organizational policy proficiency, there are 4, that employee needs a lot of time and attention. They need a
Mhm.
lot of time and attention. So you cannot give them the most difficult project to do. There's so much going on there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Then we go up, got an employee that's an 8 in motivation, but organizational culture, there's 2, there are 3. They don't know what they're doing. They're excited, but they can't deliver. That means that employee, you need an expert person. Somebody doesn't have to be you. That's a good thing. But you need
Mhm.
someone who's super knowledgeable in your office to sit with that employee to help them bring up their technical skills.
Yes.
Now we get the employee that's over here at the right, right? They're at 8 in motivation and an 8 in knowledge. That's your person. That's your girl. That's your man, your woman. That is the star that
Mhm.
you can start delegating higher levels of responsibility. That's the person that can go to meetings on your behalf. That's the person that can review reports before you read it. That's the
Mhm.
person that you can just say, you know what? Here you go. Now
Mhm.
you're developing other leaders. The great success of a true leader is how many leaders have you developed under you? Not
Mercy.
just you, but how many
Mercy.
other leaders have you developed?
That's serious. Yes.
Then we have the lower quadrant, right? We
Mhm.
got the leader that's a 10 in knowledge, but there are 3 in motivation. Oh my goodness. How
Mhm.
many? Oh, that's hitting. That's how many
I've seen
people know the work,
that.
but they're just not motivated. You
Motivated.
cannot give them that hard task. You want to. A lot of y'all, the problem, a lot of y'all leaders are giving that employee the hard task to do. Things are wrong, misspelled words, deadlines being missed.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you got to do. You got to schedule a meeting with that employee. You got to
Mm-hmm.
schedule 2 different meetings. The
Mm-hmm.
first meeting is this. Hey, John. Hey, I just want to set up a check-in meeting with you. I just wanted to find out, a little bit about you. Tell me, before you started working at this company, what were you doing beforehand? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. What do you normally do in the weekends? Okay. And actually, what brought you here? Okay. And what's your career goals? What goals do you have in the next 2 to 3 years? Oh, okay. You want to move to another division because your background is in engineering, but you're working in accounting. Oh, now it makes sense why you keep messing up on the numbers. But you don't tell them that. Hey, don't you
Yes.
thinking this internally, folks?
Right.
So now you're just keeping it casual. You don't talk about work. Don't talk about misassignment. You're just trying to get to know the person. Your job assignment is to get to know the person before they came to the company that you're at now. Now you say, okay, let's schedule a follow-up meeting 2 weeks from now to figure out what can we do to keep you motivated, something that's going to make you happy so that we can keep you here because we value you as an employee. Now that second meeting, you meet with them and you realize that they're in the wrong section. That's why they're irritated. They're in the wrong, or you can find out that they want to all of a sudden be a sales trainer. They want to start traveling, or they're traveling and they don't want to travel no more. But the
Mm-hmm.
point is, find out what motivates that employee and then start doing those things. They want an award, help them to get an award. They want
Mm-hmm.
public recognition, recognize them publicly. They might
Yes.
want to be a trainer. They might want to be a trainer training the new employees on your team. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I say a lot of leaders struggle with empowerment. They're empowering the wrong people.
Mercy. Listen, those of you who are watching right now, if you're like me, you're thinking through LEAD. Michael identified where most leaders struggle. But what about you? If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, I want you to go ahead and put in the chat LEAD. What area do you find that as a leader you struggle with? And LEAD, which of these areas do you want to grow in? Listen, Michael, they say that word listen are the same letters as silent, right?
Mhm.
We have to take time to listen to people. I love that. Empower, adapt, and develop. For myself, where I am in this particular season, the area that I want to grow in, listeners, I'm being authentic with you. I want to grow in adapting. I want to grow in adapting, adapt and overcome. That's what we say in the military, right? And sometimes in
Mhm.
some seasons it's easier than others. But right now, as a leader, I want to grow in being able to adapt to those who I'm leading, adapt to the circumstances that we're placed in, not to get ruffled, to be able to see and walk forward with patience, with calm, with grace, and with professionalism. And again, to my listeners, I want you to go ahead and share with us. Those of you who are listening on the audio, leave a review, tag me in the DMs and share with us. LEAD, listen, empower, adapt, develop. In which area are you ready to grow in today? So Michael, as we turn the corner here, I want to ask you this final question.
All right.
In this fast-paced environment that we're living right now, right? How can leaders stay anchored in purpose and impact rather than getting swept up just in productivity?
I To me, what I feel like is needed more than ever is more community with the team. What I mean by that is, are you celebrating birthdays? How are you doing that? Do you have team meetings? Do you have just get togethers where you just get together and you don't focus on work? I feel like what's happening now a lot of times is that we don't know each other. We don't know that somebody just had a birthday. We don't know that they just had a baby. We don't know that they just got married. But if on Fridays, you got your casual Friday, you come in, somebody brings in pizza, somebody brings in donuts and coffee. You bring the donuts, the coffee in, Every Friday, you play a little music. Somebody could play the music of the week. You're in charge of playing the music for this Friday. Now you start to have your cultural community bonding time together, and you will be amazed at by how much that impacts the workforce and the culture. You'll start to notice that employees who never talk to each other will start to have communication and talking to each other. Now instead of the emails being harsh amongst team members, they're a little bit softer. Then all of a sudden, people from other divisions are going to be like, "Wow, why are they having so much fun? How come they're in a good mood?" You see, people love spending time with people. Iron sharpens iron. But if we're behind the computer screen sending off, "Hey, where's the report? Oh, you made a mistake." There's no empathy, there's no emotion there. And so that's why I say what's needed more than ever right now. Reset, folks. Reset, reset. Get back to the fundamentals. Have the weekly in-person meeting if you're meeting in person. If you're doing it virtually, here's another exercise that you can give. Wow, I wish I had I normally give all this out in workshops and stuff like that over 2 or 3 days. Here's another task because you're saying, "Michael, we're virtual." I got you. I want you to go in and create a PowerPoint, right? A Google Doc, PowerPoint, and you create the about me. Hey, did you know I climbed the mountain? Did you know I studied Chinese? Did you know my favorite food is X? Hey, did you know I used to be in a rock band? So list like 3 things that most people don't know about me. And then for your next team meeting, everybody discusses these 3 things. Now, if you have time to take it to another level, put it in on a board, some of the different things, and have people guess who was the one that used to be in a rock band. Who is the person who went scuba diving? Oh my goodness, you're gonna have so much fun because you will never guess some of these people experience. You'd be like, you used to be a baker? What? You used to did what? I can't believe it. So you have fun. Time to have fun.
Yes, yes. You hear that, leaders? Have fun at work. It is possible to get the job done, to meet the mission, and still enjoy living life on purpose and allowing there to be a breath of fresh air in the workspace. This has been such a rich conversation today. I want to thank you so much, Michael, for joining us. Now, you have resources, an abundance of resources, and a lot of coaching goodness to be able to share with our leadership community. Please, if someone would like to keep in touch with you or utilize one of your resources, or maybe even invite you to come and speak or to do a training, how can our listeners, our viewers contact you?
Great question. They can go to michaeldillard.org. There's a free resource for leaders who are performing at high levels who are burning out. I got you covered. The 7 leadership mistakes leaders make. But guess what? I got solutions for you. Easy guide that you can pull out at lunchtime when you're just like, "Oh, I'm burnt out. I don't know what to do." Just download the guide. I got you. Now you're saying, "Michael, I can tell you, having coached lots of people, how can I get in contact with you?" Hey, go to michaeldillard.org, hit the schedule button, schedule a calendar meeting with me, courtesy 30 minutes. We can talk about what issues you have, and we can come up with an easy way for you to get your time back so that when Friday comes, you got more time to spend with your family.
I love it. I love it. Listen, listeners, we're looking forward to hearing from you. And I know that Michael's looking forward to being in contact with you and continuing to grow our communities. Thank you so much for joining us for this Best in Class series episode on leading with impact. Michael, I can already tell you we're going to look to bring you back again. So I hope to see you again here with our Transformation Station community in the future. Thank you so much. And we'll talk again soon.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Well, there you have it. That's a wrap for this episode of Transformation Station Best in Class series. What an impactful conversation on leading with impact. I want to invite you to watch this on the replay. I want to invite you to watch it with a friend, share it with a friend. Matter of fact, with your team. This is a really good session episode to listen to or watch with your team and then have a team discussion as it pertains to leading with impact. And you could even go through the LEAD formula, L-E-A-D, that formula with the team, and talk it through so that your team and leadership community can continue to grow. I want to remind you, your greatest legacy won't be what you build, but who you build up along the way. This week, I want to invite you for the challenge of the week. This week, take one intentional action that puts people over productivity in your leadership. Identify one person on your team or in your sphere of influence and ask yourself, how can I invest in them this week? Not just manage their work, but impact their growth. As you ask yourself that question, take action. You can do that by sending a voice note of encouragement. You can do that by offering mentoring time or coaching feedback. You can do that by publicly recognizing their contribution, as Michael mentioned. You can do that by asking about their goals and listening fully, being present, because small intentional leadership moments create lasting impact. And that's what we do here as leaders in Transformation Station Community. All right, Best in Class series. Every Monday, we're going to be having a new high impact leader that will give us a masterclass on how we can grow. Remember that on Wednesdays, that's our regular Transformation Station Leadership Podcast meeting time. So every Wednesday, you can join us. On Mondays, for just a little bit of time, we're going to have the Best in Class series. So until next time, stay grounded, stay engaged, and keep on growing. Keep on becoming the leader that only you can be.